Hi everyone, Barry here. Just some tips that I want to share today regarding how you can improve your speed with Section 3 of the GAMSAT. Now, a common thing that I hear from people is they say, I feel like I'm thinking too slowly with Section 3 questions. It's just taking me too long. How can I get through these questions faster? If I just had enough time, if I just sat there for half an hour with a question, I'd usually be able to figure it out. But I don't have the time to do it. How do I think faster? And my response would be, typically, is you can't. I don't think you can think faster. I don't think that's the aim here. Let's assume that your brain kind of ticks over like an engine, okay? Like it rotates like an engine and it's going at a certain speed. Now, I don't believe you can really improve how quickly it runs, let's say. Okay, I don't think you can really affect that without doing anything drastic. So how can you get through questions faster then, you might ask, if I can't change how fast I think? The way I like to address this is by talking about efficiency. How efficient you are with your thought processes and how you come to make a decision, because that's what you're really doing when you're trying to do GAMSAT style questions. You need to make a decision between which of the options, A, B, C, and D, are the correct options. And as you're reading the question and you're digesting the information in front of you, you are constantly making little decisions. Think about it this way. First of all, you need to decide, once you've read the question, what is the question asking? Once you made a decision on that, you need to think, okay, well, what information is relevant? And then you need to make a decision on how I'm going to use this relevant information to select the right option. What knowledge or what skills will I need to use? There's so many little decisions that you will need to make. And the analogy that I have for this process is kind of like running through a maze. Okay, so let's imagine for a moment that you're trying to get through a maze. So you're trying to get through a maze, and essentially you might get to a point, kind of like a fork in the road, and you have to decide which way you're going to go. And you might not know which is the correct way, okay, which is actually quite typical with the GAMSAT. You don't know if the decisions that you make are necessarily right all the time. And it's quite possible that as you're going through this maze, that you make a wrong turn and you get to a dead end, just like in the GAMSAT. You think, okay, maybe I'll use this information, and then you realize, doesn't look like it's going anywhere. So what do? You have to backtrack. You have to backtrack and then try again, and you go somewhere else. And eventually, right, you will get to the end, right? That's essentially how the maze works. Unless you're really horrible at directions like myself, then you might end up stuck in the maze for a while. Which leads me back to the point of efficiency. If you run into the maze, and let's say you're an Olympic sprinter, okay, so you can run faster than anyone in the world. You're Usain Bolt. But imagine you're Usain Bolt, but you're really bad at directions, okay? So you run into the maze and you take a turn, it's a wrong turn, okay, and you go back and you just run around and you make the same wrong turn again. You just keep going round and round in circles. You're never getting out of that maze if you just keep running around and around in circles, making the same mistakes or making, more and more dead end turns. So there's nothing wrong with how quickly he's running, but that doesn't help him get out of the maze. So someone could potentially walk out of the maze faster than this Usain Bolt. What I'm trying to say here is that when you're going through a question, you want to be focused on what it is that you are doing and where you're trying to go, and to learn from your mistakes as you go. So it's quite common when you're doing a GAMSAT style question that you might hit a dead end and you realize, either the information that I have focused on might not be relevant, or maybe you've made a silly mistake. You need to backtrack and then try to get back on track. But if you, from the very beginning, you read the question and you don't even understand what the question is asking, you're probably going to spend the next few minutes looking at information that's irrelevant, trying to answer a different question, and just wasting time. It's got nothing to do with how fast you're thinking, but more about how efficient you are about trying to make the right decision. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight on how you can improve your speed. It's not necessarily about thinking faster, but about being more efficient. Thanks very much, guys.